When my parents were married a short time, they were worried that my mother wasn't pregnant. So they went to a doctor and this and that, and then she got pregnant. My brother was born about a year after they got married. So then my mother told me that meanwhile, my parents became well-to-do. In Berlin, they had maids. And my mother said to me, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but my mother said to me it wasn't fashionable among well-to-do people in Berlin to have a lot of children. Now, I don't know what this means because all they had was my brother. But she had 7 abortions. She had 2 abortionists. I've done some reading about it. She told me that the birth control she used was some kind of soap or something, and it wasn't very effective. So she had 2 abortionists. One was Jewish and one was not. And she thought the non-Jewish one was a more capable one. She liked him better. Oh, but a year before she was born with me, she had an ectopic pregnancy. And she said it took her a year to recover, and that when she would walk in the house, the maid would walk behind her, give her a teaspoon of tea or something. It took her a year. And she was told never to get pregnant again. That's when she became pregnant with me. So she went first to the Christian doctor for an abortion, and he was having an affair with a Swiss ballerina and was away for the weekend or whatever it was with that ballerina in the Swiss Alps, wherever they went. So my mother came home and went to bed. And my father came home, he saw her in bed. He said, "You had it done?" She said, "No, Dr. So-and-so is away. I'll go to Dr. So-and-so next week, the Jewish one." So my father said, let it be already. So she didn't have the abortion. But there's a little sideline to this. When I was writing my memoir, I took a writing course at the Bethesda Writers Workshop, and one of the things in Maryland, and one of the things I learned was that when you write about people, it's easier for the reader to identify with them if you give them names, if you don't know their names, make up names. So I made up a name for the Christian doctor, and I made up a name for the Jewish doctor, and for the Jewish doctor I made up the name Levy, common Jewish name. So when I wrote this story, I sent it to my brother, because he was involved, for him to tell me if it was accurate, if I had it right and everything. So he gets the story and he calls me back and he said, "How did you know Dr. Levy's name?" I said, "What are you talking about?" And the real doctor was called Dr. Levy-Lenz, L-E-N-Z. Well, I couldn't believe it. So then, I don't know how I found out about this, but I found out that this Dr. Levy-Lenz he didn't advertise that he was an abortionist, but he was an expert in birth control. And he had written a memoir. And I think it was called Memoirs of a Sexologist. And I got it out of the Library of Congress. I was living in Washington, D.C., and I read his memoir. And he talked about having invented this contraceptive sponge, I think. So I thought it was fascinating.